Excellent. Hey, Rifters, welcome to the show. Subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend. Very excited for this show. Uh, I got the hiccups. Very awkward when you get hiccups before an interview. So I'm hoping they go away. Anyways, this is gonna be a fun show. This is a great guest. You've seen him in movies like Me, Myself, and Irene, Dumb and Dumber, Shallow Hal, Hall Pass, Kingpin. I know him though from the Adventures of Sinbad, so I'm very excited to talk to him. It's going to be great. The great Zen Gesner is going to be here via Zoom. So yeah, make sure you tell your friends about it and all that jazz. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I hope everyone's doing well and enjoy Razor Riffs with Zen Gesner coming up next.
From Hollywood, California, welcome to Razor Riffs with your host, Keith Reza.
How are you, Zen?
Whoa, there he is.
How are you? Finally.
I'm doing, finally. For those of you listening, Keith has been trying to get me on this podcast for how many months? It seems like
months.
4 years.
It's been, Zen, it's actually been years. I've been trying hard, but like, because like IMDb Pro, because I'm a celebrity as well. So
of course you are.
So I'm on IMDb Pro, but all the contacts for you, like they always say, like they no longer rep you or something. So
yeah, I know. I like to keep it like that, mysterious.
So
under the radar.
Yeah.
But you found me, man. You did. You got me. I was in hiding.
It was from
found
Rob
me underneath the stone.
It was great Rob who helped me. So I
know my dear friend Rob Moran.
Yeah.
He's wonderful. I love Rob. He's one of my best friends.
Yeah, he's great. Well, thank you so much. This is such an honor to actually meet you and talk to you. I'm really excited.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate you reaching out. I really, really do. And I think one of the reasons, this just bringing some time elements into this, one of the reasons you were able to, and I was able to get into this position of talking with you is this has been a very strange month.
Yeah.
This month has been weird because Malibu, where I live, is under an evacuation order right now.
Is it really?
Yes. And my little neck of the woods is on a pending mandatory evacuation. We're under a warning right now, but it could very well upscale to a mandatory as we're speaking together. So this could be really interesting.
Oh my God.
You're going to hear fire trucks going by. Right now, there's a huge fire event in Malibu. And anyway, the roads are closed. I'm locked in. I can't get anywhere. So you got me.
Oh my God.
You got me here.
So this is one of those things where tragedies are actually in my favor, I guess.
It is in your favor. It locked me down. Well, that, and I'm also recovering from spinal surgery. So that was another thing. I had 2 vertebrae replaced, or discs in my neck with artificial discs.
Yeah.
And I'm about 4 weeks out from surgery right now, and I'm doing great.
Oh,
that's really, really well.
That's awesome, man. I was going to tell you before you had your surgery, you got to stop. Mm-hmm. You're no longer Sinbad. You got to
take. Well, I think that's where the problem started.
Yeah.
Back in my 20s, in the mid 90s, I was a part of this little show called The Adventures of Sinbad, which filmed in South Africa. It was 2 years. I filmed 44 episodes. Yeah. Each episode was an hour long. And it was 2 years of extensive stunt work. And I think if I could go back in time and talk to my younger self, I think I would have said, that stunt double that's always sitting off to the side, dressed exactly like you, who looks exactly like you, on camera, it's really hard to tell the two of you apart. Let him do the stunt. You don't need to do it. Put your ego to the side and don't write checks that your body can't cash later.
Were they, if you don't mind me asking you, were they paying you for acting and stunting? Because
no, that's a double hit. Of course, if you're an actor and also doing your own stunts in today's business, you're kind of covered by both the stunt union and the actors union. And yeah, sometimes you get a little bit of a bump in pay, but no, of course not. Me, I was like, no, I just want to do this because I was a big fan of those old swashbuckling movies, like with Burt Lancaster, like The Crimson Pirate,
Yeah.
and the old Sinbad movies too, like Douglas Fairbanks Jr. They did all their own stunts.
So you wanted to be
Famously.
like them, yeah.
I mean, I really wanted to be like them.
Yeah.
And anyways, I'm 54 now, and it all kind of caught up with me. So,
Yeah.
but I'm good as new. This was a successful spinal surgery, and I'm good to go.
All right, cool. Because they're going to reboot Sinbad, and you're.
I would love that. Actually, those were good times. Those were the best of times.
I actually had a couple of Sinbad questions because I loved the show. I wanted to ask you like about the swords, like how many swords on set did they have on that?
I'm not kidding when I say we had the very best props department in the world, who were literally, they had a weapons master who was creating weapons for armies of skeletons, armies of barbarians that I was fighting on a daily basis. So, and those blades would break all the time. So we had a dedicated props department person who was building these weapons on a daily basis. And I would say probably hundreds of swords.
Oh my God.
And hundreds of bows, hundreds of crossbows, hundreds of spears that I was dodging on camera, like right and left. It was, it was pretty spectacular. At the time, those fantasy action shows, if you remember Hercules and Xena.
I remember Xena.
We were part of the action pack. So Sinbad was part of those adventure shows. And it was, in the States, it was always a Saturday or Sunday matinee anywhere, and it was syndicated. So you were on a different channel in every single state, in every single market.
Yeah.
And Sinbad was international as well. So I'm huge in Guam. I'm massive in Guam.
That's where I came from because I was visiting Guam and I was Sinbad was on. But you want to hear an interesting fact? Is our mutual friend, the great Vanessa Angel, she was supposed to be Xena.
Yes, absolutely. She's a doll. Yeah. She's a doll. Great actress too. She would have been a great Xena.
Yeah, but, you guys could have like crossed worlds. Yeah, I was gonna say words. I was like, that sounds stupid.
No, it made sense to me, man. No, they had talks of Sinbad crossing with Xena. They were in talks of doing some crossover episodes. And I was really excited about that with Lucy Lawless, who I was a big fan of. But yeah, it would have been fun with Vanessa if she was in it too.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to ask you this because there's a rumor, and I don't know if this is true, but there's a rumor that you guys filmed a third season, but they never released it. Is that true? Or
that's unfortunately that's a rumor. I would have loved to have gone into a third season because the show creator Ed Naha, who's an amazing writer, who came up with the whole series and the whole kind of wisecracking Sinbad character on paper first. He had big dreams about the third season. If you remember, the first season was more friendly, kid friendly, a little more light.
Cool, yeah.
And then the second season got a bit dark.
Yeah.
Sinbad was suddenly wearing leather pants and long hair, like and big muscles. And, I was working out, many hours a day at that time with a personal trainer who really kind of built me up, had big muscles. So yeah, I was showing those off a lot in the show for the second season. Still a lot of fun, but the third season would have been really interesting because we were going to blend a lot of the first season fun with the second season's like raw, like, I don't know, cage match type of filming. And we were hitting our stride at the end of the second season. So yeah, unfortunately, we didn't do that. I did a promo tape for it. I
Oh
did a
yeah.
promo for a third season, and that was a lot of fun. It started off with me on the Sinbad ship, on the bow of the ship with a rope, and it's one take, and the camera's set up at the rear of the ship, and I jump, and it was this huge tracking shot of me going across the entire deck of the ship from the front to the very back, landing on a mark and saying, "Welcome to Sinbad." Third season of Sinbad. And it was a real it was just so fun to film that, but I just wish we had done it.
Well, let's do it. I mean,
Yeah, Keith,
I just won the $10,000 lottery, so I could do something.
that was about the budget. No, the seasons. No, it was all good. It was all good. Those were two of the best years of my life living in South Africa. My first son was born there. My wife and I had Finn there. Was a magical experience, and yeah, the show was a lot of fun too. I mean, every day to wake up in the morning and get to set and get all dressed up and take a step back in time,
Yeah.
jump on a horse before the sun comes up, and have the director say, "Okay, Zen, you're going to start off at the end of the beach, and you're going to ride up on your horse." And right as the sun comes right over the mountaintop and the first ray of sunlight hits this spot, we want you to just ride up and rear the horse at that moment, pull out your sword, and go galloping off down the beach. I mean, it was like, every childhood dream coming alive.
Don't you
And
wish the iPhone was alive during that time? That way you could like make little
I know.
videos. Like
It would have changed the entire thing. Yeah, it was the infancy of internet at that time, and we
yeah.
still had, like, I had a computer at the time in South Africa. It was first generation. It was dial up, so it was like that modem that goes.
Oh, AOL, right?
Wah, wah, and then suddenly you're on.
Yeah.
And
then it said,
yeah.
"You've got mail," and you're like, "Oh, awesome!"
Oh my god, I have. Yeah, exactly.
It's a request to do my podcast.
That was your first request way back then in
Yeah.
1996.
Yeah. It might have been. I don't know. But
No, but back in those days, yeah, it was so. The first season of Sinbad, my wife, she was a lawyer at the time, and she couldn't take that much time off because I was filming down there for practically the entire year. So she came down twice for 2 visits, and we spent most of our correspondences over AOL email.
yeah.
And it was like, as we were on opposite ends of the world. And so my noon was her midnight, and, vice versa. So we corresponded, but must have written thousands of emails back and forth. This was in our first year of marriage.
Whoa.
We're going on 30 years this year.
Oh, congratulations.
But, thank you. But this was like, it was remarkable that we were able to keep communication and keep close. She, on her second visit down, she got pregnant. So she took pregnancy leave off of work, came down and joined me for the second season. And we had the baby there. So that was cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you just mentioned 30 years and something else happened 30 years ago.
Mhm.
But before we talk about that, I wanted to ask you about South Coast Repertory because I went to school there and I know you went to school there and I wanted to know your experience there.
You're kidding. Keith, you went to SCR. You went to South Coast Repertory. Wow. Well, that's amazing.
I wanted to be an actor just like you,
Yeah.
But then then I started doing stand-up comedy and my teacher was this guy named Dennis Yearley, great actor, I guess.
Yeah.
But he was always like jealous, he was like, "Oh, I want to be the next, Hal Landon," you know what I mean?
Hal Landon Jr. I mean, the talent coming out of that place was historical.
Yeah.
I just read that the artistic director who started SCR just passed. Actually,
oh my God,
Martin Benson, he passed away. So just recently, he was 87. long, good life, and he created a great theater company there. But yes, back to SCR.
Yeah.
I graduated high school in Santa Monica, which is, yeah, and it was halfway through my high school experience that I decided, okay, I want to be an actor. I was a musician at the time. I was a trumpet player.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I was in the band. I was also a drum major of the marching band. I was a big music guy back then. Um, and my best friend was another trumpet player. This was in high school, and we were walking by the theater arts department. On the bulletin board outside of it, it said 2 trumpet players needed for production of Hamlet. I turned to my friend and I said, might be kind of cool. Get to see what this drama thing is all about. Write some cool like fanfares for the court scenes in Hamlet, and yeah, we'll see what this is all about. So my friend and I, we jumped in head first, and we didn't realize we had to be on stage the entire performance every night. all the from the beginning of the curtain going up to the end.
Right.
And instead of like being scared out of our pants, we were like, this is about the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Because we had to react to the actions on stage. We had to do some acting and like really kind of like get into it. So anyway, that led to me auditioning for every single play. And after I graduated high school, there was an opportunity. My mother, who is a phenomenal stage actress, had starred in a ton of plays at South Coast Repertory,
Oh,
starred
nice.
in them. And so I knew the theater pretty well. But as I was just starting out as an actor, I was 1 year out of high school, uh, I started it as part of the running crew. And that was a job at the theater where you get to mop the stage before every single performance. And you get to fly sets in from off in the wings. Um, you get a really immersive experience in theater.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was also taking classes at SAR, the professional conservatory, and it all just kind of came together at that place. I just saw the most amazing work from these very, very talented, experienced actors, and I thought at that time, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of this, and I want to learn, and I want to get an edge. So I started applying to drama schools right and left, and I auditioned for Juilliard and didn't get in. And just a complete Hail Mary, I auditioned for Lambda, which was the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art over in England, and I got into their 4-week summer school course.
Whoa.
On it was an intensive workshop on Shakespeare.
Yeah, I
And
was gonna say because London's pretty Shakespeare-y, right?
yeah, it's very Shakespeare there.
Yeah.
But it was also just it's one of Lambda's one of the best, most renowned drama schools in England. You know, just right up there with the Royal Academy and Guildhall and so this anyway, when I got there, I was ready to work. I really
Yeah.
wanted. I put my head down and just went for it. And at the end of the 4 weeks, the president of the school came up and said, "We have one spot open in our 3-year professional acting program. Do you want to be a part of it?" And I said, "Absolutely." So
Oh,
I ended
yeah.
up just hanging everything up for 3 years. Lived in London, went to school there, learned everything. Uh, it was a classical acting school. So you learn everything from the ground up. They
Yeah.
like I was one of the only Americans in the school at that time in the class. So I stuck out like a sore thumb because I had this California like surfer accent at the time. Like, what's up, bro?
Right.
Yeah, let's go surf, and they looked at me like I was an alien. So the first order of business was stripping away that American accent and building up something else that was kind of mid-Atlantic to British. Uh,
It would have been funny if they went up to you and they said, Zen, we have one spot and it's between you and this guy named Rob Moran. And
Thankfully, Rob was at Emerson at that time in Boston,
my
and then at the Louisville.
my best friend, before he passed, he was so jealous of Rob because like whenever we'd watch like movies and stuff, he'd be like, I auditioned for that and they chose him, you know. And I was like in every single movie, like we watched Dumb and Dumber,
Oh
Kingpin,
yeah,
something about Mary, and Norm Macdonald was my best
yeah,
friend, and he was
yeah.
yeah, they chose him. And I was like, and he's like, and I'm friends with Jim Carrey.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah.
I have.
I don't know if he was fucking with me, but yeah,
Well, Norm was awesome, and oh god, you must have had an amazing relationship with him. He was one of
yeah,
the greatest. Uh, his work is timeless. He's like and I'm sure you do too. You stumble on some George Carlin like stuff from his time and it just blows you away about how incredibly relevant they are even in today's comedy standards,
yeah.
and they speak a language and their comedy was just so universally like brilliant. uh but yeah, Norm was like that. Norm had that kind of like, oof, he just had a delivery that was just so original, very similar to yours, Keith. You're
Well,
very
yeah.
similar to Norm. I've listened
I,
to you online and I've thought to myself, damn, you're a dead ringer. You're a dead ringer for your friend.
well, I'm Norm Macdonald's comedy son. I toured with him
Yeah.
for 9 years, so like
Yeah.
a lot of you know, stuff came from that. But I was just telling you
Mm.
that story. That's how I became a fan of Rob Moran because I was like,
Oh,
ah, somebody was better at Norm because Norm
yeah.
was the worst at. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's funny. In Hollywood, you go out for a lot of things and you see a lot of the same faces and you
Yeah.
develop relationships in these casting offices. Back in the day, I'd walk in and I'd know 10 guys in that room that were 6'1", blue eyes, brown hair, uh, same build, same look. We'd all get the same casting
Yeah.
calls from our agent. And yeah, and so you see them, it's almost like you're going to work. Hey Paul, how you doing? Everything good? How are the wife and kids? Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. And then you have all these relationships, and then he gets it.
Yeah.
He gets that part and ends up in Star Wars. And you're like,
I got Sinbad.
I got Sinbad. No. Man, I would have loved to have been in Star Wars. And there's still a chance. I mean, there's a lot of those
oh yeah, there's always a
spin-offs
chance.
happening.
Exactly. You're going to be in the like how cool would it be if Sinbad like time travels into Star Wars and like
Yeah.
he's fighting Vader with a lightsaber and he's like what the
It's
fuck is
all the
this?
same storylines recycled over and over and
Exactly.
over again. It's like, yeah, you could see it.
We're going
You
to
could
make
see
it
it.
happen. I just won $10,000. So
Well, my
uh,
favorite. Who was your favorite character in Star Wars?
I don't like Star Wars to be
Well, there
honest
you
with you.
go.
Yeah. I was going to say Sinbad, but
No, I was a big fan of Harrison Ford. Still am.
oh
I think
yeah.
he's so great. I mean, his delivery. Well, it was the basis for Sinbad. Actually, that's who I modeled my character after, was Harrison Ford.
Uh,
Um, and yeah, I grew up watching him, as Han Solo, and it was just, yeah. Anyway,
have you
I,
ever met
I
him?
I haven't met him. I have not met him,
Oh.
but my mother had the same agent as Harrison back in
Oh.
the day in the 70s when he got
When he
Star
was a
Wars,
carpenter.
when he
Yeah.
was a carpenter.
Yeah.
So it was really easy for her to ask her agent, hey, I've got a son. He's 7 or 8 years old and he's a big fan of Harrison. Can you get a signed picture? And yeah. And so I have this signed picture of Harrison Ford
Oh,
to
how cool is
Zen
that?
Gesner, and yeah, it was very cool. That's like one of my prized possessions. Is like, oh my god, I have a signed picture like from before he blew up.
Yeah.
So I was very, my mother gave that to me. I was like, that is the best gift ever.
Yeah.
It still is.
Was he wearing his carpenter gear in the picture?
Yeah, there were two pictures. There was
Whoa!
one. There was one and him with a button-down shirt that looked like he just stepped off a construction site, and then and with a scar. He had a little scar on it. He has a little scar on his chin, and that's kind of evident in this black and white headshot. And then of course there was the one of him dressed up as Han Solo with Han Solo with the blaster, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I always think it's funny when like celebrities write funny things before they sign an autograph, you know?
Yeah.
So like if I was Harrison Ford and I'd sign out like autographs from Star Wars, I'd be like, I made out with Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford.
Oh, that would have been great. That would have been great. Carrie was amazing.
Yeah.
I actually met her a number of times. And
nice.
Yeah, she was brilliant. She was a very funny, great sense of humor, very dry.
She did stand up the last like 5-6 years of her life.
Yeah. And I totally know why. She just had a great wit about her. And yeah, she had a great sense of humor.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you about Dumb and Dumber because it is a 30-year anniversary. And dude, we've been talking, and I want to respect your time, but I have like 7 questions of everything. So like, are we good on time? Like, can I like, what's
we are good. We're good. I don't hear the sirens out there asking for a mandatory evacuation. So I think we're good.
Okay. Because I
do 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
No,
I'll try. Okay.
Going. Go on.
Yeah. But so Dumb and Dumber was that like your first main screen movie that you got? And like, did you audition, or how do you like get, because you only had one scene, but it was a scene that shows everyone like the twists of the movie. Like,
yeah, I had 2 scenes, but there was one that was in the chili, the hot chili shack, where Mike Starr, the actor, overdoses, and after the boys think they're playing with him, and they
I love Mike
unfortunately Starr, it's just the best scene ever. And his they don't realize that he has a really bad ulcer, and they load up his food with hot chilies, and he ends up having a
rat poison. Yeah.
So, that was the one scene. And then there was another scene on the interstate as we were chasing them across the country. I played an FBI officer, got to, peel out in the car after them, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay. The nature of that film. Yeah. That was my first Screen Actors Guild film. I earned my SAG card on it.
Yeah.
Peter and Bobby Farrelly, absolute brilliant directors. They're family to me. In 95, they are literally family to me. My wife is Cindy Farrelly, Farrelly Gesner now. I'd met her in 92 and got to know Peter and Bobby before they blew up with Dumb and Dumber. They were hardworking writers, comedy writers at the time, just busting their butts to get anything produced at that time. And the whole story of Dumb and Dumber and how it came about is something you can Google, but it's remarkable that they got the break that they did. And they really took it and ran with it and scored, as we all know, just beyond it. They won the lottery.
Yeah.
They did. And it was through hard work too. Those guys have the biggest hearts in the world. And but one great thing about Pete and Bobby is they never give handouts. So even if you're family and all that, you still have to
got to audition. Yeah.
You got to read for every part. You got to do the work. You got to, you go into those casting rooms with, 30 other guys. They're all up for the same role. And you're just, that if you don't deliver, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I had to do that for just about every cameo I had through, I don't know how many movies I've appeared in, and little blips and blips and blips.
Yeah.
Something About Mary, or well, Kingpin's a whole different story. And,
Yeah, you were like the
yeah,
bad guy brother and like trying to
yes.
get. I liked Kingpin.
Oh, no, I was the good brother.
You
I was
know,
the
but
one
you
who
were
tried to bring
like,
him back to the light, bring him
yeah,
back
you wanted to
to
bring
the
him back to
Amish
make
family.
bread or whatever, and
Yeah,
like,
to his Amish roots, like
exactly.
rescue him from this weird, modern
Was that a real
world.
beard you had in that, or did you like?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was itchy. I mean,
Yeah,
this is a real beard that I'm cultivating here. But
yeah.
yeah, back then it was hard for me to grow a beard. So yeah, just about every Amish person who was an actor who played Amish had to be bearded up, and
The
it's
spray on hair.
oh, it's the worst. It makes you want to just tear your skin off.
Yeah,
But it worked for the role. But that was a lot of fun.
yeah,
Yeah, Kingpin, playing opposite Randy was just a dream. It was just wonderful. That was a
yeah.
great experience. And then, having to chase him across the country and all of the scenes of me in the buggy going through, these toll stops on the interstate with a horse and buggy,
Right.
chasing them. And then finally locating him in Reno, Nevada at this unbelievable bowling stadium that they have there. There's like over 78 lanes right by each other, like right down the row. And of course, getting to know Bill Murray and his legendary performance in that. Of
Yeah.
course, there was Woody Harrelson and yeah, it was that was a blast. It was an absolute blast.
Well, you've worked with some like comedy legends too. You know, like you just mentioned Bill Murray, Jim
Yeah.
Carrey. But
Oh, Jim
I would say, how cool was it that you had a scene with Lee Evans?
Carrey.
Like,
By the way, he's a comedic genius.
oh my
Like,
God.
what happened to Lee Evans? I know
I've been trying to find him too.
he's probably doing something really cool
Yeah.
and really like amazing somewhere. But
Yeah.
yeah, Lee. Oh God, he was so good. I got to in Something About Mary. I was a bartender in a little cameo, but it was fun. And there's I have the extended scene of that where they walk in and I've got this raspy voice. I'd come back from Sinbad,
Right.
and I had laryngitis,
Oh,
and it was
that's not
and
good.
it was horrible. I woke up on the day and I was like, "Where's my voice?" I had this voice. It was like it was gravel, and it was like this just rocks,
Oh,
and I didn't know how to like say anything about it because I didn't want to lose the part, and I was like,
cough it up.
yeah, exactly. So I exactly cough it up, chompers, which was my line. But there was a whole extended scene where I have it out with Norm, like
Yeah.
face to face, and I said, what the hell are you doing here?" And I'm tatted up. I've got long hair. The voice fit perfectly for that part, and yeah, it all fit. It all came together, and it worked, which
Oh,
was which was a blessing. But Norm, oh my God,
yeah.
that
Lee
character,
Evans. Oh,
Lee
dude.
Evans. I
Yeah.
mean, Lee Evans, brilliant.
See, it's so weird because, like, for Something About Mary, everyone says, oh, which I think Something About Mary is one of the best romantic comedies of all
With
time.
hands down.
Yeah.
I've never seen a film where I went to the theater over and over again because I loved, as much as I loved the film, I loved seeing an audience's first reaction to it and
Yeah.
to some of those iconic scenes, the hair gel scene, and
Exactly.
just see people, just literally falling out of their chairs.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before, where people like and applause and cheering, and it was just it was so cool.
But part of the reason what makes that movie so special is because if you watch it, you actually don't really care who gets married because you like
Yeah,
all four of them.
you love them all. You love them all.
You know what I mean?
Matt
Like,
Dillon, you love him.
I love that. Like, you know
I
what I
love
mean?
that guy. I
And
love him. No,
but I think that's what made it beautiful, like, so I think that they should have made multiple endings where she got with all of them, you know.
That's not a bad idea. And maybe
Yeah,
they'll do it for the stage rendition. If Rob Moran is fortunate and they get that thing on stage on Broadway, that would be amazing.
that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Dumb and Dumber, like part of the reason why I like Dumb and Dumber is because everyone thinks it's Jim Carrey's movie, but I'd like to argue it's actually Jeff Daniels' movie.
Absolutely.
You
He's the
know?
straight guy. He's the
Yeah.
straight guy. And, I think Jeff Daniels had a really deep understanding that he was going to, as wild and incredible and brilliant as Jim Carrey is, he had to play something that would feed into that and just be there perfectly, not compete against it and
Yeah.
not overshadow it, but actually, both of them working together. It was Abbott and Costello. It was a perfect comedy duo.
Oh, for
And
sure.
yeah, I think Jeff was the perfect casting for that.
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't you, it had to be Jeff. That's what I have to say.
I was young. I was a young gun at that time.
Uh-huh.
But
But I wanted to ask you about your scene in Me, Myself, and Irene because
uh-huh.
you have a scene where you're working with four megastars in one scene. You know, Richard Jenkins,
Hmm.
Jim Carrey, Renee, and then Chris. And
Yeah.
I want to know, like, how do you
That was incredible. That and I mean, I got to say, three of the four and of the ones you mentioned, we had the toughest job ever in that scene of keeping ourselves together while
yeah,
Jim Carrey, take after take that we did of that scene, where he takes his medication at the beginning of it by the
yeah,
water cooler. Yeah,
yeah,
it gives me a little bit of dry mouth. And then you start to see him start to transform.
yeah.
And by the end
You're
of the scene, he's doing these antics that, I mean, physically, how can a human body look like that?
right.
And we're supposed to keep it together and just kind of be looking at him quizzically, like, well, what's going on? And here's Richard Jenkins, right? Seasoned, like, unbelievable talent
Who's
and
super famous now?
super famous. And I'm looking at him and he's fighting to keep his composure. And I look around at Chris, and Chris is the same. He's just shaking. We're all shaking, trying to keep it together. And also Renee, who's standing next to Jim while he's doing all of this, is like, we're having the toughest time. This is acting at the highest level
Right.
to try to keep it together through the scene while Jim is doing his thing.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing about your character is your character was actually the good cop.
Yeah,
And they
that's right. I
killed you.
wasn't. I know they killed me.
Yeah, like you could have
It's
saved everybody.
well, you know what? Those little parts, I love them because there's no small characters in the Farrelly Brothers movies. Everybody has a little thing, and they make the most of it. So I was very fortunate to have those opportunities,
Yeah.
and that was fun as well. I love getting shot. I got squibbed up with those exploding
I love getting shot.
pads, and
You're not supposed to say that.
and then you have those one, and you pretty much you get one take of it because they don't have endless amounts of shirts that they can blow apart.
Right.
But yeah, when I got shot on that, it was a one take thing. It was like, okay, you better nail this. You better die well.
The worst part is you got shot, assuming it was the pizza guy, and you
I know.
died, and you didn't get to eat pizza.
I know.
Like that was just.
I got one bite.
Oh,
I got one bite because he dropped the box on the ground, and I landed next to it, and a piece just kind of flopped in my mouth.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
You don't
right.
see it on film, but I did.
Okay. Cool.
I got a bite of pizza.
Okay. So Zen, I have three more
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, please.
So what was it like making Jack Black jealous?
Okay, Shallow Hal, another great film and a great opportunity for an actor to play both a cleaned up version of himself and a real version of himself.
Yeah.
Um, I love the message of that film. I think all of Peter and Bobby's films have incredible heart at the core of every film they do. And that was just one of my favorite films of theirs because of that. But yeah, working with Jack Black is a dream.
Yeah.
Any actor who has to act opposite Jack Black is like, you're living the dream, because he's the coolest. He is the coolest. It's just so fun. It's just, and playing that character, Pretty Boy Ralph at first.
Yeah.
When I meet him, and I see, Rosemary, and him together with her. That was a fun part of it. We did that, and then later on in the film, when we meet up again, he comes looking for me, and I'm stepping out of the Peace Corps office, and he sees me for who I truly am.
Yeah.
With psoriasis, got like skin flakes all over my shoulders. I got this crooked nose. I got huge ears.
That was you? I thought it was a stunt double.
Remember, no stunt doubles. No, I do all my own stunts.
Okay.
All my own makeup. No, actually, makeup for that was incredible. The makeup artist, he really is an artist. Tony Gardner. He did all the Chucky films, and he did Gwyneth's whole, transformation from how Jack sees her to how she really is.
Yeah.
He made all that like seamless. It was incredible. But it was also, in that scene when Jack is just attacking me, like, you won, man. You won. If you set one hand on her, I'm going to come after you. I'm going to come after you. He really gets in my face, and I'm like, whoa, 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 Al. What are you talking about? And I've got the different voice and all of this. There's a totally different character. And it was just so fun to play both sides, like the cleaned up version, normal, and then the other version, which was how I really am.
Right. Oh, man.
Round.
I wish I knew you guys back then, because like I would have done uncredited rights. I would have been like, hey, we could have Jack Black say, oh yeah, she's going to choose Sinbad over me.
Darn it. Missed opportunities.
We'll go into a time machine.
That's the way.
So Zen, I wanted to ask you about Small Town Conspiracy, where you're the lead of something, because you've been doing these cameos, small parts and stuff, but this is a movie where like it's your movie, like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So and the cool thing about that is like you're a detective who still has a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was a blast.
Yeah.
Got to film that in Florida, in just outside of Orlando. So it was Valencia City College down there had an amazing film program. And the director of the film, Ralph Clemente, he was just a brilliant guy. But it was a good script, and it really kind of spoke to me. It was kind of about the untold story of Pearl Harbor.
Right.
How, we may have received warning of Pearl Harbor before it happened, but we kind of sat on it because the United States didn't want to get involved in the war overseas at that time in World War II. So they needed something to kind of kick our butts into action and get us into the war.
I thought you were talking about the movie Pearl Harbor. I was like,
no. Yes,
we may have heard about this movie Pearl Harbor. I was like,
this the prequel to Pearl Harbor. But it was one of those great low budget films that really had a passionate crew and an amazing backing to it, and a great script, phenomenal script, and everybody just had their heart and soul in doing it right. Yeah. And that was a good part for me to work on. I worked with some great actors on that. Um, and I thought it turned out okay in the end. It turned out really, really good. We did a service to the script, and we did a service to that piece. So I was anyway very lucky to have been given that chance.
Now, did it give you anxiety? Because like it's your first, your star movie where you're like, or
Well, I've been starring in Sinbad, right?
yeah, oh, that's true. But this
So
is a
for movie. 2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're working for 2 years, and pretty much it's 6 days a week,
The
and
anxiety goes away.
oh God, it's just like you're just doing the work.
Okay.
You're trying to do the best, performance you can, and the best work you can as an actor.
Yeah.
So yeah, nerves don't really factor into it at that point. And if you're working with a team, it's a bit, going back to what I was saying at the beginning of this with you, is that it was a bit like our roots in theater.
Right.
The great thing about theater is you work with a team, and you work with a bunch of actors for over a prolonged amount of time, and you get to know them, and you get comfortable. You get very comfortable performing with them.
Yeah.
And and everybody's collaborating, everybody's supporting each other. It's a very collaborative effort, and your performance is what it is because of everybody else who's surrounding you and how you're supporting them. So it's a collaborative thing. Working on a show like Sinbad, it was very much like that. So you get very comfortable.
Yeah.
But Small Town Conspiracy, same deal.
Same still. Yeah.
We get, you start working with these people, and they are your family for the length of that film. As you're shooting it, you're living every day, eating lunch, dinner, breakfast with these people. They become family to you, and everybody's supporting everybody. When somebody trips or falls, or lighting guy drops something, you help him up. You pick him up.
See,
and they do the same to you.
That's why I don't want to be like a mega star where I'm on the first build on something, because then I have to buy everyone Christmas presents or something. Like I'd be like, this is too much anxiety for me.
Oh yeah,
I just want to say a funny thing. Yeah,
that's a lot. But well.
And then Zen, my last question
Yes.
for you. This is kind of a fun question. If you were a Ben and Jerry's ice cream flavor, what would your flavor be, and what would you like what would you call it? What would be in it?
Okay, Keith, you've just that's the wildest question I've ever been asked, and I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Love that. Okay, what would it be? I would like, okay, there would have to be a flavor that embodies adventure. Okay. So that every bite is different. I don't know how you do that, but maybe it's through layering, like a Neapolitan or whatever they call it, with like 3 different layers, but I'm talking about maybe 18 different layers in there.
Okay. 18.
So every single, and yeah, so it would be called, what do we, and you take a scoop off the top, it may be toffee.
Oh, I like
and
that.
That tastes a certain way, but then you take a deeper scoop, and you get a little, with that toffee, you get something else that you didn't quite expect, like
cherry.
Bingo. That's it. And then you take another scoop, and you get even deeper and deeper and deeper.
Potato chip.
Why not?
Yeah, there's 18 flavors.
And by the way, it's embracing the unknown.
Yeah. We could call it "There's Something About Zen."
There you go.
Right?
No. I'm too humble for that. But it's but something that would embody like my life. I feel like my life has been just a series of adventures. Like every job I've ever had has been different. Has been, I mean, in the entertainment world, I've worked just about every medium you could think of. I've done radio theater, I've done theater, I've done TV, I've done gosh, I've done a reality game show produced by the Amazing Race people
Weren't you
called
the
Take.
guy who carried the briefcase or
Yeah,
something?
I was the host of Take the Money and Run
Yeah, yeah,
a season, and that was wild
yeah.
and
Don't you
tons of
wish you just took
stories.
the money?
Yes. I had the opportunity, I had the briefcase,
Yeah,
but I didn't.
yeah.
I was, yeah, I didn't want to get thrown in jail. So, but here's the, yeah. So I mean, but every step of life should be an adventure and should lead to bigger, like wilder things, or maybe it's lessons to learn. And if I had a Ben and Jerry's flavor, I'd like that to be the case.
Oh,
So yeah, you
that,
learn through every bite a new thing.
that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there you
plus
go.
every bite is probably 1,000 calories, right? Like,
Yeah, so you
yeah,
can change as well. You could go
exactly.
from like 150 to 250.
Yeah. I would probably be eating that, like, because I don't know if you could see my body, but I'm fat. You know what I mean? I eat a lot of Ben and Jerry's. That's the point.
I love Ben and Jerry's. I really
Yeah.
do. Half baked is like, that's the best thing ever. That's like, if I could have a bathtub full of like half baked, that would be like, I'd die in heaven.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing.
All right. Well, Zen, hey, this was a
Hey,
real honor. And where can the folks at home follow you and support you, or do you not want to be followed and support?
uh,
Yeah.
I'm actually, you can see me on, there's a movie coming up called Balls Up, which is starring Mark Wahlberg and Paul Thomas Hauser, or Paul Walter Hauser, actually. He and it's coming out on Amazon.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
so that's going to be a funny one. That's going to be a really, really good one. So there's
Cool.
a little cameo in that,
Oh,
and so you'll be able to see me in that one. If you subscribe to Amazon, you may have seen Ricky Stenicki, which was it came out last year, with John Cena and Zac Efron. So I have a little piece in there.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm on Instagram. It's my name, Zen Gesner. So you can also see me there.
Awesome.
And yeah, I'll try to keep people informed. And I am planning on diving much more into the entertainment arena
Oh,
again.
nice.
Who
Because we
knows?
we we want you back. We always, you never left, but we want more Zen. You know what I
Uh,
mean?
I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
really do. And I appreciate you, Keith.
Oh,
You're doing a great job.
this was an
And
honor to meet you and talk to you. And I know you don't do a lot of interviews, so thank you
no,
so much for saying yes to me.
I appreciate that. And you know why? Because we're under a mandatory like lockdown right now in Malibu because of the wildfires. So you
Yeah.
got me. You
Yeah.
got me.
Yeah. I was gonna say thank you for dropping the restraining order for this.
I appreciate it. It'll be reinstated just as soon as we sign off. But that's okay. Yeah. You're good. You're good. No, seriously though, how many episodes is this for you?
This is 362, something like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that must feel incredible. That's an accomplishment that's like it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
How
I
do you
mean,
feel?
I mean, I feel because I do stand up comedy and
Yeah,
I don't get a lot of work because the guy I toured with died. So like I feel this kind of keeps me into the comedy community, and my rifters, the listeners, I call them rifters, they're
yeah,
very supportive of the show. You know what I mean?
that's
Like,
great.
so like I like that, and I like
Absolutely.
and like I have Asperger's syndrome. So like interviewing people really helps me learn to be a better artist or
Mhm.
actor or whatever. Like I learn something from everyone I interview. You know what I mean?
That's wonderful, and I mean, I think that's a great lesson for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, is to kind of like keep plugging at it, keep putting yourself out there, and keep communicating. I
Yeah.
love this. I love actually talking face to face with people, even if it's over Zoom.
We should do a Zen podcast. That'd be great. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. No, I'll leave it up to you. You're doing a great job. I don't want to draw the limelight away from you at all.
All right.
You're doing perfect.
Well, thank you so much, Zen. I really do appreciate it. This was a
My
real
pleasure.
honor to talk to you,
Well,
and I'm glad that we're friends. So thank you so much.
I appreciate this, Keith.
All
You
right.
have a great, great day.
All right. Bye, Zen.
All right. Take care now.
All right. All right, guys. That was the interview with Zen Gesner. Subscribe, rate, review, and we'll see you guys next week on Razor Riffs.